Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll be discussing tips for the removal and replacement of the manifold absolute pressure sensor on this 2024 Hyundai Elantra with the 2.0 liter engine. If you find my tips to be helpful, please like, subscribe, and comment. Now let's get started. The manifold absolute pressure sensor is located in the center of your screen. That part right there with the white label on it. It's very difficult to access, but we're going to make it happen today. Okay? So the visibility on this video is not going to be that great, but I'm just going to talk you through what I'm doing the best way I can on video. Okay? Some of the symptoms associated with a faulty sensor include poor fuel economy, rough idle, poor emissions, stalling, hesitation, black smoke, engine knock, and the check engine light with trouble codes P1102, P1105 through 1107, and P1108. And I just want to mention, before you look to replace this part right here, you should always check your air filter. And the air filter housing is located right here. Okay? Air filter is located right in here. And there's just some simple clamps to open it up. One, there's a clamp there and there's a clamp over there. Open it up, make sure that filter is not dirty. So you might ask, what does this part do? It measures the pressure in the engine's intake manifold and sends that information to the engine control unit. Supplies needed for this repair include a 8mm socket, and if you notice here, I have a very thin, small socket set, okay? Because they're gonna have to reach in there. You're gonna need some painter's tape, fairly long flat tip screwdriver, and a ratchet. Please see other items in the description below. So let's go ahead and move forward with the removal and replacement of the manifold absolute pressure sensor. I'm gonna try to leave the camera right here and to give you guys the best view. So the first thing I'm gonna do is remove an 8mm bolt that's located on the right side of the sensor. So it's off to this side right there. Here's another pro tip. Because I don't want to drop that bolt, I put 1 or 2 layers of painter's tape on the end of my 8mm socket. And what that's going to do is it's going to hold on to that bolt as I extract it out, and that way I don't drop it on the ground. And I'm going to be very careful. So when I'm operating this extension, I'm going to keep it as straight as possible. That's where you have the most leverage. So you just want to have it straight. You don't want to be turning it like that. Okay? You don't want to do that. You want to have it straight as possible. So here we go. So guiding it in. Okay. I'm on top of the bolt. And you can see my extension and my knuckle are very straight. And I'm turning very slowly. And I'm maintaining just a little bit of pressure on that bolt. Now I've already loosened it up for demonstration purposes. So what you don't want to do is pull the socket away too early. So now that I can tell that the bolt is very loose, I'm going to press in towards the engine, make sure it's sticking on the back end of that socket, and then I'm going to slowly pull it towards me. And that's how you do it. Next, I need to remove the sensor itself. Okay, so I'm going to go in here with 2 hands. So I'm going to go in this hand and then that hand in that area. So down here, push through like that. And I'm just going to wiggle wiggle that sensor until it comes out. Now, what you can do also is go right in through here with a long screwdriver, and you can kind of pry that sensor away from the mounting surface, just like I just did. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is disconnect the electrical connector from the sensor. The wire's not long enough for you guys to see. I'm going to slide the locking mechanism to the rear, squeeze down on the tab, and disconnect the sensor. And there you have it. And that's your sensor. All right. Just do a simple inspection here. You can see that the electrical connectors are nice and straight. So there's no issues there. This is not bulging at all. This is a Kia part, which is a nice OEM part. That's what we like to see. Okay, moving down from the top, you see there's an O-ring. And it's very clean. There's no oil here. There's no dirt. Okay? And inside there, there's your sensor. That little brown thing off to one side of the opening. There's the sensor. Now look straight down the barrel. You see that? And you see how clean that is? That's how it should look. If you had a very dirty filter, or somehow someone ran this vehicle without a filter, chances are that shiny area way at the back of the barrel would be dirty. And what I recommend you do before replacing the sensor is simply use some mass airflow sensor spray and clean off the sensor. Okay, shake it off, just like that, and it dries in minutes. Obviously there's a coating of dust in there. It looks like red clay, and it doesn't want to come off. This wasn't triggering a check engine light, and so I'm going to call this clean. I actually don't mind having a little bit of dust, a little clay dust on the outer edge of this framework right here. What I'm more concerned about is whether or not the dust is settling in on that metal area at the bottom of the barrel. Do not use any abrasive items, brush, any type of degreaser, things like that, like a toothbrush or maybe pipe brush in there trying to clean this sensor off right here. Do not do that. You take a chance of damaging this part, and it's fairly expensive, so you do not want to do that. Let's go ahead and reinstall this sensor. So what I'm going to do is install the electrical connector after looking at the waterproof gasket, install it, and then I'm going to lock the connector on, and then I'm going to install the sensor inside a hole by pressing it down evenly, like that. Press it down. Then I'm going to line up that hole, and I'm going to carefully reinstall my screw right there. Okay, electrical connector first. Okay, locked. Next step, slide the sensor into the hole. Okay. Rotate it around so that the bolt hole is lined up with the mating surface, and push it in. See if I can use my screwdriver to push it in. There you go. What you don't want to do is use the bolt to pull the sensor down into the hole. Because if you do that, you take a chance that the O-ring will not be positioned correctly. Okay, our final and most delicate step is to reinstall the bolt. I may have to add another layer of tape just on one side. You don't have to do the whole thing. Just put a piece of tape on one side, just enough to make sure it's tight, to hold this in place. You see that? That's what you want. All right, let's go ahead. Carefully slide it in place. Keeping the extension straight. Okay, so now once I get it in about 1/3 the way, I'm gonna kind of shake it a little bit. And then go in and push on the sensor itself. Okay, there you go. So now I'm gonna finish it off. And it just needs to be hand tight. Carefully wiggle it off, because that socket's gonna want to stay there, and pull it out. Well, folks, there you have it. We've just completed a short video on the removal and replacement of the manifold absolute pressure sensor on this 2024 Hyundai Elantra with the 2.0 liter engine. I hope you found my tips to be helpful. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, drive defensively.